All right. So, the first question that David was asked about in from Instagram. So these questions are from Instagram, which I feel, of course, everybody's on Instagram, but Architectural Digest definitely in image caters to the rich and famous, right? That is who is putting the most amount of money into these renovations, which are then documented in the magazine and videos, etc. And the most of us are not that, but we are trying, just like The Devil Wears Prada, and how, and in that one scene when she was like, this doesn't relate to what is going out into mass market. Indeed, it does, right? So that which is haute couture fashion, or, the most expensive interior design, eventually trickles down to the rest of us. And I do hope that my content helps you also translate from, that haute couture to mass market. And I think that we live in a time where everybody can benefit from this design. And so if you are buying if you love Eames chairs, but you cannot afford an original Eames chair, and you're going to go for the knockoff, go for the knockoff because you love it. And I feel like I've seen at least one interior design YouTube video kind of shaming, like, you need to be true. No, you need to be in love with materials. The reason why I think that we have benefited from industrialization and mass marketing and all of that is so we can all have this beautiful life. So go get your reproductions and knockoffs. It's fine. Yeah, as long as you're honest about it too. I don't want you going into debt, and you shouldn't, don't be doing it to impress your friends with, I got this, and lying about it and going into debt. That would be a really bad thing too. So buy the knockoff, enjoy the space. Okay, so the first question, and I believe I've put it, oh yes, okay. Creative ways to use lights instead of overheads. I love lighting. And during college, I spent a brief amount of time as a lighting designer and as an intern in New York City. I love lighting. And it was part of actually my architectural thesis. So his solution, his answer is to use sconces. And let me tell you, this image that I love the colors of, it's just a stock footage, but it's just stock photo. But it is a great example of how sconces, wall lighting, can be overdone. Now, this appears to be a boutique, and certainly they've adjusted the colors and lighting for the best photo possible. But in my experience as an architect working in the hospitality industry for mid-market hotels for the last 20 years, sconces were often used on a corridor that it would be 8 times as long as this. And mainstream hotels are expected to keep up to date. And so if you have a corridor with 200 lights times 5 floors, and you need to replace them on a regular, 5 to 7 to 10-year cycle, that's a lot of money. And it's oftentimes on these extremely long corridors, they turn out really dim. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures from my past life, and honestly, my job was to correct those inconsistencies in lighting. So hopefully they're corrected, and I don't want to show, but I don't have them anyways. Know that all hoteliers are working to improve that lighting to give the best experience. So that is like a little history of why I hate sconces, is because sconces are really meant to be used as jewelry in your, it's just a little pop. it's not to be the workhorse. So it's not to replace overhead lighting, which is ambient lighting. So let me show you the next. So here are some example of sconces. In the most left one, this is a David Netto. Can I? Oh yeah, you can probably see that. Yeah, this is a David Netto sconce right next to ambient light coming from the window. So again, this is just a piece of jewelry. It is not replacing it's not replacing ambient lighting, and most likely there is ambient lighting in the ceiling. So again, that's a jewelry piece that it's not replacing your overhead lighting. That is what I want to clarify. Now, in the next photo, we see a very traditional dining room with the candelabra is not lit, right? So at that dining room table, the candelabra would be servicing and the diner right there. The overhead lighting and the window are creating ambient lighting, and that sconce is just a little eye candy. It's just to brighten up the walls, but it is not truly serving to illuminate the space. So, and then in the third example, this is where sconce lighting is decorative, right? It truly is a piece of artwork here in in this photo, and that is where I think we need to make sure that sconces do not replace ambient lighting. Sconces are jewelry. Okay, and again, in my 20 years renovating hotels, in bathrooms were often where the sconces are, and corridors and then bathrooms. And then, a hotel that has 100 rooms plus two sconces in the bathroom per room. So that's 200 sconces that can be dated, right? We all have an opinion of this sconce and of this sconce. They are decorative items that could that can be trendy, and if it's just two in your house, then that might be fine. Also, know if it's two in your house, you love that fixture, it means so much to you, go for it, install it. But also, the next time that you sell that house, somebody might not like your jewelry. Like, do not take offense to it, right? It is a piece of jewelry, it's highly personal and potentially, well, trendy or dated or whatever the word of the day may be. You love it. Don't take offense when somebody else just wants a different piece of jewelry, right? So if it's just a one off in your own home, it's fine. But if I have any hotel friends watching this video, I mean, we've talked about it if I visited your hotel and the repetitiveness. So, what the hotel industry has done, and I think is smart for everybody, is be boring in your bathroom. Create, provide the largest mirror possible, mirrors that have this front lighting, illuminate your face for your makeup, etc. And let everything else be creative somewhere else. This is where, if you are afraid to do things, don't be afraid that you're not being flashy enough in your bathroom. This looks plenty flashy to me. I mean, I think it's gorgeous and simple. And that's what you need. If you have a little powder room, go crazy in your powder room. Do some crazy sconces if you want, and the most bold wallpaper or paint. Have fun in that small space, but in your day-to-day space, clean and calm, I think is a longer longevity if you're looking for that timeless design. Timeless design. Okay, and bigger mirrors. Personally, looking at these mirrors, the ovals certainly are very trendy in 2025 and probably have been for a couple of years. But the idea that you would want to limit yourself, it's your bathroom. You should have the biggest mirror possible. I don't know why small mirrors like this exist. And even in this lower corner, I mean, I guess they broke up the mirrors in order to get that sconce in there, but it would be so much better if you have all the mirror to, see yourself. So, okay. Well, any questions right now? Nope. Okay. So we will move on to the evolution of light in our search for cozy in our homes. So many messages that I see on Reddit and Facebook groups about interior design are looking for cozy. So I want to give you this is just my opinion of the evolution of light and how we have moved from one state to another and how we can make our homes cozy. So it all starts with our agriculture backgrounds and just for thousands of years, our ancestors were outside to the day doing whatever they were doing, working in a field. And notice in this field, everybody has a hat on, right? So the sun is coming down. We need the sun for our crops, but it's a long day out in the sun. Then you move to more modern time pictures here of our offices with all of the overhead lighting to, again, mimic the sun and to keep it bright and to keep everybody awake and alert and working on their whatever they're working on. Or in a corridor where I need to get you just out of this building, right? It's an emergency corridor. I love obviously green and red imagery, but when overhead lighting is done in that way, it is really mimicking the sun. And your color temperatures are going to be in that 6,000 Kelvin. It's to mimic the outdoors. Then you finish the day and you sit by the fire and relax. And you're warm and you're in your home and you can relax. And the color temperature goes down to that 2,500, 3,500 Kelvin. And that is what, and it is at it's seating level, right? So you're sitting at the fire, you're sitting by the fire, not standing up. It's not at standing height, it's at sitting level. So in our homes, here we go. And we need more table lighting. I see so much either floor lamps, like the full floor lamps that don't have, those work okay, but then there's nowhere to put your drink. and and let me give you a little hint on this, especially this coffee table look at how big that coffee table is. I think coffee tables, and I've said this in my last video, I hate coffee tables, honestly. Um, maybe there's no TV in this room. And so this is truly a sitting room and you will be putting drinks on here, but yeah, are you going to knock your knees on that? I prefer to have that open space to be able to stretch and relax and sit on the floor and play with your animals. If you have animals and you want to spend more time with them, get rid of your coffee table. Okay. Lighting. So these are all examples where the fireplace, this table lamp, and the candles on the table are all at eye height, and everything about it is cozy. There we go. I have an example for you of not cozy versus cozy. Ooh, that goes the other way. So, not cozy, cozy. Okay. And what you can see here in the purple bedroom is this sconce is mounted. Not, not only is it just bright and glaring, and the Calvin is very cool, but it is also super high. It should be down where this plug is here, right? Not as a sconce, as a table lamp next to it. Similar that in this, now this bedroom here, I think is AI generated, uh, but did a good job. And it is cozy because of the colors. It is cozy because of the table lamp and the soft light streaming in. There's a richness of materials where our purple room, the palette is much more stark. And there's it is not an example that is cozy to me. So, cozy. They may have been designing this room for another reason that we don't know, but I don't think cozy was their goal for this room. There we go. So, now, next question. Best countertop for a kitchen that gets a ton of use. Well, hopefully that's most of us. Probably those of you in small urban environments that are eating out more often than not because you have such a limited space. But the rest of us really do need durable countertops. And I think it's also use, but then durability of your money. Like, are you going to spend your money in the right spot? So hopefully you can enjoy it for a long time. And then the next people who buy your house could also enjoy it. And it's not like a negotiating point at that sales time. So Nate, no, no, no. So David Netto, his suggestion for a durable countertop that he loves, and he talks about the patina, is this Vermont soapstone here, which is a dark color. Price point, it's probably not too out of line from other granites and marbles. Um, so cool. Like, especially if you're looking for not a shiny finish, uh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But what I think is often more the debate is dark counters versus light counters. This is what I dealt with again for 20 years renovating hotels. Is when I started in the early 2000s, we had a lot of people doing the black granite countertops. We all thought it was awesome. And now the whole industry has moved mainly to white countertops, to lighter countertops, because it makes the space feel bigger and brighter, and it has the perception of being cleaner. True? Don't know. But that is the perception. And one of my friends, even before I was in the hospitality industry, like her mom has always used that um, theory to always go with white countertops or a light countertop just for cleanliness and timelessness. Now, black countertops can work if you've got the right lighting, and it really depends on that overall palette that's going into that room and the amount of natural light that you have and the lighting overall that you've got. So you can see the middle photo is my home that we went with the white countertops, which I'm very pleased with still. But I will say that now, when selecting finishes, I knew what I needed for the strong foundation. I like the blue. I think it works with, of course, I had some feng shui principles in the back of my mind. So that is looking facing to the north side of our home, which is often water and blue. So that was good. But I did the all white counters, the all white cabinetry, which I actually would like this lighter wood next to it here. Like, I think that's lovely. But the reason why I have this third picture is so many suburban homes have this medium grain granite. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that you can pull out the colors. I think this looks lovely. If this is a new renovation for somebody, if they kept the countertops and, this is, hmm, maybe this is what this will be someday. We'll see. And mixing the wood grains, I think, is totally fine. So I've shifted the conversation of what is the most durable to what is the most has the most longevity for design. So let me give you an example of that which I don't think is working great for longevity. Too trendy, which is the large grain. It's not even a grain, the veins, large vein marble. I mean, it is dramatic and gorgeous. This kitchen here is absolutely stunning. I love so much about it, but I worry that this heavy veins, and they come in all different, lots of them are black and white or gray and white or gray and black, and or so there's a few that go into the pinks and reds, but it and because it is being used with such gusto, I'm pretty sure that it is going to be just passe in the next 10 years. And if you are amongst the rich and famous and you don't mind just throwing that out, and you've got the means to do it, then I guess have at it. However, is that most environmentally responsible? Right. Is that, just because we can renovate, do we need to, right? Chasing trends and, "Oh, I can't live with this." Like, that's what scares me about this particular kitchen that is so lovely, is that in the future, it's just going to be gutted once again, and that will change to another trendy countertop. So for durability of timelessness, I would not go with that. Now, concrete countertops. I personally have no experience with concrete countertops, but my recommendation would be, if you want to do this, find a friend in your community that has done a concrete countertop. Don't use that as your first DIY project, because I think they can go terribly wrong, and I think they are very difficult to remove and replace. This image that I found, I mean, I'm actually even questioning if it is actually uh, a concrete countertop. It certainly has the coloring of concrete. I'm not sure if it is, but that is my just warning to you with, be careful with concrete countertops, and make sure that you have a friend who's recommending a fantastic installer for you. Go DIY somewhere else in your house. And then the final, for durability, right? The question was, what countertop can I use for the most durability? And here are images of tile countertops, 2x2 and then 4x4 tile countertops, which I think are the worst possible option, because I have lived through this. In my first apartment, I had a kitchen similar with these countertops, and then I also had a bathroom that the 2x2 tile was on the floors, walls, ceilings, and countertop. And you think that it's level, you think that those grout lines aren't going to matter, and yet they do. It is just gross, ultimately gross. And in the picture on the of the green countertops, you can start to see the grout discolors, it falls away. And then I think also similar to that previous green marble kitchen, tiles, when you go in to select that tile, yeah, they're going to talk you into, possibly talk you into a color like this. And if it's in the right area of your home, perhaps you can make it work. Don't do tile countertops. If you've got them, we can please make a comment and let me know. and we will figure out a way to help you with those crazy colored tile countertops. Okay, on to the next, which is truly my favorite two questions. So I've merged two questions into one. What colors mix well and what combos should I avoid? And then the second question, good colors for someone who is afraid of color. Now, David Netto's, I mean, he is a world famous interior designer, and he says be bold and do crazy combinations. And then in the second one, his answer is look to your closet. And so, yay. So I've combined these two because I have already started working in and created videos for these two. So let me show you the whole color combination and why I'm super excited about this. So I've already done two videos. The color power video was one of my first videos, and it talks about organizing your closet and how to organize your closet and find what your color palette is. And then in this, Love is in the Air is about the southwest corner of your home, but it takes place in my closet. And so I want to talk about that because color combinations are 100% subjective. And what works for you? Like some of you are going to look at my closet and like, oh my gosh, I would never have that much color. This color makes me happy. So let me tell you about the history of this. I call it the color barcode. And I probably created this almost 20 years ago. It was just like a winter crafty project where I took up a paint deck and chopped it up and just picked out my favorite colors. I had this, it's a piece of foam core, and actually you can see it right there on the wall. It's traveled with me all of these years. And I just started creating these color bands of what I liked and put a little pop of color. And it just delighted me at the time and still delights me today. So I created that. And then years later, I realized um, yeah. Oh, I keep seeing people pop in and out. I'm excited. Thank you for popping in and out, for clicking on the video. Mwah. Okay. So I took this bullet car. Blah, blah. Okay. So I took this color barcode and and in a house. Oh, it was I had my husband and I lived in Connecticut, and we had this really long closet. And it was in that closet where I wanted to display this color barcode. And then I started like, ooh, let me start grouping the colors together. And it just kind of naturally flowed into these colors in my closet. So then you move into we are trying color combinations and what to do if you're afraid of color. Oh, okay. And there is a theory called the 60-30-10 rule. So if you are afraid of color, first you're going to go sort out your closet. You don't need to make that color band thing. Color barcode. You by sorting out your closet, you can see your color combinations and you put that any way you want. But then you're going to take that 60%, and the 60% is your safe space, right? So in my closet, I have a lot of grays, like slate gray and blacks, right? So those are my 60% base colors. And then greens and blues are kind of the next 30%. I have a lot of that. And then just that, even though that photo in the last slide showed a lot of red, I really do use that pops of red just very sparingly up at the top. So 60-30-10 rule. Great. That still doesn't really give you direction, a framework, what to do in your house. So let me show you this. What is starting to appear here is a feng shui bagua compass, bagua. It's a 9 square grid that is like a little map of your house. You can take this grid and then overlay your floor plan with on this. So if you have a room in the north of your home that you're like, I need to renovate this, I need to do something, but I don't know what to do, you look to this color palette. And let me show you. In Feng Shui, there are 5 elements: water, earth, wood, metal, and fire. So, and I like in putting this together, it just made me so happy to all of these uh, material palettes are just clipped from Pinterest. And I love them. It just makes me so happy to see these colors because oftentimes people, number one, it gives you freedom to use many different color palettes. Like you don't need to choose one color palette for your whole home. You can have your color palettes move throughout your house. Did I tie these together? Okay, sure. Maybe just enough, but you're going to the blues that I selected, the grays and the pinks and the greens, all of that is going to be your interpretation of greens and your preferred earthy tones, your preferred metal grays. That's what you're going to use. So, mm, mm, mm. So then the extra fun part of all of this is that when we're searching for meaning and color, like here, you don't need, you can go through in your home and start employing these color palettes to each section. And it's like, there's no, there's no downside to it. That if you're going to use gray in your northwest and west sector of your home and design around that because that works for you, there's no downside to it. But you also may get the benefit, the feng shui benefit of the energy aligning the energy of your room with the color of your room and that which the feng shui design system says is enhancing the helpful people in the northwest and your creativity in the west, right? There's no downside to it. So in the center of your home, so what I also love, it the 60-30-10 rule also somewhat works with this. Yeah, it totally works. Watch this. So, earth in the southwest, earth in the center, earth in the northeast. There we go. And then west and northwest are metal with 10% water. There you go. And then in the east and southeast is green, wood. There's our 30%. And then in the south is our little 10%, all of these areas. So let's say, okay, great. I'm going to do the center of my home with the earth element. It's going to be your anchor element. I did a video number 3 about that. It's going to be your earth anchor element, but you need for design balance all of these little sectors. I'm sorry, all of the elements in your home. So, for what we don't see in the center of our home here is something that represents wood and growth. There's not a little pop of green, but that's what could be added. And that, that color combination, look to your closet and then find that. In the north, west, and west, well, these are so neutral and so gray heavy that adding a little brown wood textures, green element, and a red element into that, just little pops. this water goes from that deep blues, blacks up to any, lighter blue colors. So I would argue that this Northwest material palette does have a little bit of water in it. The Southwest pattern, I was going for, like, in selecting this one, those peachy, beachy, warmer, earthy colors, and then they've already paired it with earth. Earth is represented as that in the wood, and then wood is represented by those light bluish greeny colors. Fire in Yeah, so they've got a really nice balance, and then maybe there's a little bit of a black contrast that goes into there. These color palettes, and then you can see that each one of these segments of your home, of the bagua, wood in the east is family, wood in the southeast is abundance, south is your reputation and fire. I've gone through videos for each one of these segments that certainly can be linked back. Um, but I did not show these palettes. So I do hope that that was interesting. I hope you love that as much as I do. And that's it for today. I think I have rambled on enough. I will create in reposting this. There will be timestamps so you can jump to each one, and I will certainly create some shorts so you don't have to listen to this whole rambling if you don't want to. I appreciate your time and your becoming a subscriber. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.